Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to be starting up the webinar in just a few minutes. I just wanted to make sure that everyone is able to see our screen as well as hear from me. We'll be starting, as I said, in a few minutes. If for some reason you are unable to see the screen or hear, just go ahead and put that in the chat and let us know that everything sounds okay. Thanks. We'll be ready to start here in just a few minutes. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about turning our visitors into members and transforming our outreach ministry by using Church360 members. We thank you for attending this overview webinar. My name is Ken Ohlemeyer, and I'm going to be your co-host today. I'm a senior marketing manager here at Concordia Publishing House. My contact information is there. And like I said, we're very excited to have you here. But we're also excited to have with us Rob Davidson. And Rob is relatively new to us. He is our marketing manager of digital products. Hey, Rob. Rob's contact information is here as well. Rob's going to be the one leading you through the webinar today and kind of showing through some of the different things that we can do with Church360 members. So let's just talk a little bit about some of the housekeeping that we're going to do for today. Webinar is going to be about 50 minutes long. For the presentation itself, we'll leave about 10 minutes or so for questions and answers afterwards, but by all means, ask questions throughout the presentation. And if we don't have the answer for you, we'll make sure we get the answer for you, but we want to hear from you if you have a question. And if for some reason you need to step away or you're just now watching this in the recording, this recording will be shared with you, and it is something that then you can share with others as well on your team. So let me just take a minute to just introduce you to Concordia Technology Solutions. Concordia Technology Solutions has been developing software for churches since 1984. So we've been doing this for some time now, and it's the church administration side of Concordia Publishing House. So it's housed here in St. Louis with us. All the support team is here in St. Louis, and it's just a great bunch of people. So that's a little bit about Concordia Technology Solutions, but do me a favor, take a minute in the chat, and I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to send this to everybody. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where are you watching this? What role do you have in the church? And let's try to get a sense of who is all on this call today. So take a couple minutes out and just tell us about yourself. Okay, we've got some people coming in. Okay, good. We've got some administrative folks here, so that's good. A little bit all over the country, that's good as well, so thank you for that. Take a minute out here just to, again, tell us about yourself. Let us know where you're watching this from and what role you have in the church. Okay, we've got a pastor as well, so that's great. So a little bit of everything in here, so thank you for that. Again, the chat feature or the questions feature are two different areas that you can talk with us about this as well as we continue to go through this. So Church360 Members, that's what today's webinar is on. But Church360 Members is just part of the Church360 suite of products. And that also includes our website program, Unite, and our financial program, Ledger. Now, we're going to be having some more webinars doing an overview of those products as well. So be looking for those in the coming days. But all of these are part of Church360. So today we're going to focus on members. And what I love about members is it's an online church management software. And not only does it take care of your people, but it can also keep track of your attendance as well as your offerings. And today we're going to focus on the people. I mean, that's one of the reasons we call this members. It really focuses on your people. But it helps to bring the data to light. It helps to bring those data points to, to real people and to be able to really keep track of your members and turn that information into insights so that you can really minister to the people in your congregation. It's mobile accessible, mobile friendly, so it gives you access where and how you need it. And I think all of us coming off of COVID for the last couple of years, we realize how important it is to be able to have access to information when you're not in the office. So Church360, the whole suite, is mobile friendly, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go along today. And the biggest thing we like to talk about this is it is very customizable to your particular needs. It provides building blocks, not a blueprint. So there's a lot of things that you can do with Church360 Members, as well as Unite and Ledger. I'm unmuted now. Okay, sorry about that. So there's a lot of things you can do with Church360 Unite that are building blocks, not blueprints. So a couple of different other things too. I mentioned mobile access. There's a data conversion add-on. So if you use Shepherd staff or some other type of data, we can help you convert that. There's no limit on your users. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can add users and different roles and things of that nature. And there's support and training, as I said, here out of St. Louis. So it's local support and local training for you from the United States. Outline for today's presentation that Rob's going to be talking about, kind of just go through this. We're going to focus on people primarily. We're going to look at attendance, taking attendance and adding attendance to your Church360. And there'll be a few other things that we'll talk about along the way as well. I don't want to kind of limit to what Rob's going to be talking about. And then there's going to be questions and answers for you if we have any of those. So let's go ahead and get started. Rob, I'm going to switch it over to you. Awesome. And I'll let you run with this from here on out. How about that?
That is perfect, Ken. Thank you.
And meanwhile, I'll be kind of monitoring if there are any questions or things like that. So let me switch this over to you, or I'm going to stop sharing my screen, or can you just pick up sharing the screen?
I think you have to stop it first and make me the presenter.
Okay, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to give keyboard and mouse to you. How about that?
I don't think that's happened.
Yep, there it is. All right, I'm going to bounce out of here. And if you have any questions, by all means, please put it in the chat feature and we'll be monitoring that.
Great. So let's do perfect. All right. Well, thanks to all of you today. We really appreciate you taking the time and learning more about everything that we're doing here at CTS with our incredible products. As Ken mentioned, my name is Rob Davidson. I'm the marketing manager of digital products at CPH. I'm just taking over for Peter Frank, whom some of you may know. He accepted a call for vicarage out of the seminary. And so he's at a different stage of life. And now I'm getting into the thick of things and getting comfortable with all of the incredible products here at CTS. And specifically this week, jumping into hosting these webinars for members and Unite this week. So a little bit about myself. My role at CTS is I kind of wear 3 hats. So first and foremost, I work with our product development team, all of our coders who are working on building the software. They are an incredibly, outstandingly intelligent team. Many of them are also pastors. We're one of the only church management softwares that are made by church workers for church workers. So we feel like that gives us a bit of an edge on understanding your needs and building a software that ultimately really becomes a useful tool for you all in your ministry. So I also work with our national sales team, Dave and Steven, as some of you may know. They're a great group of guys, and our process is different from traditional sales. We work to understand your needs to recommend the best product for you based on your church's unique environment. These are not salesy guys. We consider them software consultants. So they really get in deep into your process and understanding what actually is going to be impactful for you and your team. The other hat I wear is a marketer for our products. Fun little teased update for all of you. We're working on a CTS Academy, specifically members, to start off with. It's a series of bite-sized videos that help you walk through all the nuances of the software. This will be a much easier way to really understand all the nitty-gritty details of what makes up these fantastic products. So more info, we'll announce that down the road. One takeaway before we get started, one of the things I've heard recently is that in the last couple of years have been so tough in keeping our connections and making new interactions count. When our churches get new visitors in any busy season, what can we do to make things easier for them? That's something I, as a marketer and as a manager here at CTS, I'm really working on. How do we actually connect visitors and help them in the process of becoming members of your church? How can we create a frictionless process there, integrating new people into your community? And so I would love throughout this process and reaching out to us after the fact, if you have any ideas on what would really help you, we would love to hear about it. So what are we going to talk about today? So we have a great resource here, Church360 Members, and I am excited to share it. We're looking at Church360 Members from a bird's eye view with some extra tips that we see as really helpful to help utilizing the software to better serve your incoming visitors. Church360 Members focuses on people who attend your church, and that's why we call it members. So in today's introductory session, we'll look at how to strengthen relationships, keep everyone informed, and connecting visitors to your church, and overall keeping everything organized so your church can run as efficiently as possible. So we'll look at the events and calendars, personal profiles and tags, notes sections, and a number of other tools, as Ken mentioned. So let's see here. Our team at CTS lives with this software. As much as I'm still new to this environment, and so if you're really looking for a hands-on walkthrough that's personalized to your needs, feel free to reach out to our software consultants. Ken will have their emails for you at the end, as well as our support and onboarding team. They are an incredible group of people that can really walk you through the nitty-gritty details. So I'm going to show you, moving forward, just some really impactful things that can get you all started. Keeping track of info can be stressful. As I said earlier, what can we do to make it easier? And so the first thing we're going to do is look at our navigation. So let me pull up here. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. We're going to look up here. Let me know if we have any issues. But after you log into your Church360 Members webpage, this is going to be your main view, the people view. Members really focuses on the people data within your church and helps you organize that part of the process. So when you open up, that's going to be the first thing you see. So if you look at the top left, you'll see your primary navigation. You might have a logo of your church up in the top very most left, but then from there you have the people section, events, attendance, offerings, and reports. So these are the most used areas of the software and where we've really contributed a lot of value for church workers. You'll go there when using this software on a daily basis. So on the right-hand side, I have to move my webinar interface here. You'll see that you then have the notifications bell, and then you have your gear icon that lists out some other areas within the settings that you can use to personalize your software to your needs. They're all very self-explanatory and easy to navigate. Obviously, if you have any questions, please let us know. A lot of this, though, is very straightforward and super easy to use. So what we're here for is the people section. This is where you'll really be able to know and connect with your members. So starting here, you'll see this drop down starting at individuals. It also lists households, givers, and marriages, just some quick and easy ways to sort the data that you're looking at. Then, if you notice underneath this, you see a filter section, and this is an easy tool to help find people's names, addresses, locations. And if you see here, as we type, it automatically filters the group to show you relevant information. So, and then looking at the right side over here, you'll have the upload section. This is a tool that we use to help you get integrated into the environment as easy as possible. You can import your current data with either a vCard or from your previously owned Shepherd Staff environment if you're moving from one of our other products that's PC-based into our web environment, so you can use it anywhere. Obviously, our support team would be able to help you with that if you have any questions about that process. From there, moving to the right, you have the download section. In case you want to customize the data that you can pull out of our system yourself, maybe you need to download an attendance report for your elders or deacons, or as a pastor, download a list of your visitors or new members' information so you can be looking at it and learning names, faces, family members. Let's say you're sending a mailing out to a women's Bible study group. Here's how you would pull the list to do that. You can do so much with members. We make it as easy as possible, as I will continue to show you throughout this process. And then on the right side, moving forward, you have the print button to print the current reported view that you have in front of you. And then lastly, you see the save report. This is how you can basically take everything that's in front of you and create almost like a bookmark to quickly access the information so it's readily available. So the last important section in this area, it's a powerful way to filter your members, is if you look at the drop-down menu here, you can see these tags and smart groups that you can assign to your members, and we'll be working with that a little bit today. You'll be able to pull this information at the forefront in order to filter what audience members are listed out in front of you in the people's view. So the other way to do this is with the hamburger menu, and you can see that something just dropped down here where we can add traits. Now this is a really neat way in order to create personal information or a personalized view here. So let's go ahead and filter it for our needs. So let's select those that have not been confirmed since before. And then let's say you're trying to do a reach out to people prior that you might have lost touch with over COVID. And so let's do December 31st. And they also have the trait as being in the youth group. Let's see here. What was that? Here we go. And youth group. So you can see here, we have a list of young folk here, and it's been populated based on our search terms. This is a young looking group of confirmands, and so you can see that's a very easy process in order to create a usable list. If I wanted to save this group, I'd click the Save Report up here in the top right-hand corner. Let's try this one more time. Let's see here, that are non-members, and we want to filter and make sure they're still active in our congregation. Look at this, so we have a pretty sizable list here. So let's go ahead and save that group. So we're going to name them as visitors and save that. So now we'll see here, visitors are people who are living, non-members, active in your congregation. So we're going to save this and come back to this later. Let's look at the next area in our core navigation, events. So events are one of the key areas within members, because more than just keeping track of the people in and surrounding your congregation is being able to connect with them and give them reasons to engage with your church body. So just like keeping all that information on the people organized, it's so important to keep your events organized as well. And the events tab help you to do just that, and it is highly customizable. I know both me and Ken, we live off of our calendars. I'm ridiculous about it. I keep everything from my personal and professional life on my calendar up to like 5 to 15-minute increments. So I can understand from a church body, keeping things as organized as possible when you're coordinating multiple people in order to throw these events and keep your congregation engaged. That's incredibly important. So you can see here, let's go ahead and filter to everything. So you see we have kind of our test environment showing you every possible event, obviously that we've had ideas and pre-populated this environment with. You can see here that we have a drop down, so you can see the different kinds of calendars that we've created, and this is all customizable for you and your needs. So if you have an idea where you want to keep track of all the new member anniversaries, you could add that as a calendar and then integrate that with your people and keep track of that data as they join your congregation. So it's a very helpful way to have a personalized ministry, so that when you're speaking to people, you're so much more relevant to them because you know what's going on in their life, and you can connect them with events, either looking at their marriage anniversaries or their baptism birthdays. It adds that special touch to connecting with them. So how would we go about customizing this calendar? So when you do the drop down, we can see here that we have different groupings. So let's just look at worship, right? And let's look into here. So this is a view that we've already created for contemporary worship service. And we can see here that it's repeating and every Sunday at this time, and attendance is taken, communion is not served, but offerings are taken. So let's go ahead and now let's make a new one. And let's call this Sunday morning service. Let's put it in our worship calendar. And we'll put it in the sanctuary. And then all day, let's do it on the 7th at 9:30 a.m. And then it's going to repeat every Sunday going forward. So if we can add any details that we have a full worship band, let's say, and we'll take attendance, communion will be served, and offerings will be taken. And so that then activates what we're going to track in attendance within each of these areas. So we'll add that, and then we'll show worship. And then we can see that I just populated everything with Sunday worship service right here. So now that we've done that, just put my notes here. So having all this information at your fingertips is invaluable, and it's a huge time saver. Both of these features, the people information and calendar information, they sync with the Church360 Members mobile app. So imagine how convenient that is for you, the pastor or one of the staff workers, maybe an elder. They're making a home visit to either a shut-in or a visitor or just a family to deepen the relationships between you and your church. And now they can quickly locate that information in order to speak specifically to the unique environment that that person lives in. It's also a great way to be able to send notes and cards for milestone occasions. So if you know here, let's show up, we have a birthdays. So if you can specifically locate, so this is our people view, and you can see that his birthday is August 19th. And so if you can send him a card beforehand, he feels like he's been cherished and part of your church community. So let's see here. Now, how do we make the next few months impactful for our new church family? The coming fall months gives us many opportunities to focus on new members, to celebrate and connect with them for the first time. The events section keeps everything in place, and I'll show you later how to shortcut to keep your data segmented by assigning tags to your members in order to personalize this even more. So let's see here, an idea that you might be able to use to better connect with visitors is, for instance, like a visitor welcome luncheon. So let's go ahead and then connect this. So we'll go ahead and make a new event, visitor welcome luncheon, and we'll add it to our fellowship calendar. And we'll say, I think we have a conference room here, and this will be not an all day event. Let's just do 11 a.m. right here. And then let's say it repeats every month on the second Sunday. And then it ends, let's say, here in 2023, lunch meat with deli meats. And we're not going to check attendance or communion or offering being served. So now here, so we're in August right now. If I check all the calendars, we can then see that this visitor welcome luncheon populated. So now, how about I go over to our people view, and let's use the group that we created earlier, this tagged environment. So we have 41 people in it. And then we'll click this box here to select all of them. So then what we'll do, we want to announce to them that we're going to be putting together this visitor luncheon. These are all people that have been visitors in the past year. So we'll go ahead and send them a text. And now we don't have imaginary people's cell phones on record, but we would be able to select them here, then create an invitation, and then we can say here, please join us for the visitor welcome, if I can spell correctly, Sunday 14th. And now when I hit send, this would then send to all of the people in this list. So that's just one of the very many ways that you can use the member software in order to better connect with your congregation and link in those visitors into the rest of the people that you're with every day. So how does this come in handy? In addition to keeping track of your attendance in various worship services or Bible studies, you can keep track of members who attend confirmation classes or require pastoral visits or any other event that you include attendance on and provide the appropriate tag. So again, what we're covering here, they're building blocks, as Ken said, not a blueprint. It's completely customizable to your needs. Knowing this info helps you build relationships. When you know when your members or visitors attend church and get to know their preferences, it gives you some better control over how to make them feel welcome. Again, as you go through these sections, try a number of different things. You won't break it. And if you have any questions along the way, search using the circle I or contact us for additional help. You'll see here down in the right-hand corner, we have a little pre-populated environment where you can start a chat with our support team, or we have suggested articles based on where you are. And anything you've had a question about, I'm sure we have a resource in place for you. Moving on. So let's go ahead and work with some tags here. This is a great way to create an ability to sort the people in your congregation and add some important information about them. So what we can do is we can add or edit members, we can add tags, and we can do it as a bulk action. So let's go ahead and let's go back to everyone here. Now I'm just gonna grab some, maybe not some children, let's see here. This is everybody. We're going to select, and then we're going to add them. We're going to add or remove tags, this button here at the bottom. And we're going to add welcoming committee. So now everyone that I just selected has that tag. So then we're going to go to everyone, go down to welcoming. Ooh, there we go. Here we are, welcoming committee, and Steph here will have the tag in her profile. So let's try another example of how this can be useful to you in your ministry. So let's try the household name Henry. So let's click Rosa here, you can see we already have them set up and some information on Rosa and the Henry family. So let's go ahead. So you can see here in the profile view, you have her mailing address, her phone number, email addresses, and her family here. So if we go ahead and then click here, we can go from her profile to the family profile. Now, this is where you can add phone numbers, email addresses, and you can then connect the other members in the Henry family to Rosa. And so now we have a picture here with all of them, and then we have smaller photos of everyone there within the family. So there's a lot of information here, and you can add a lot in order to customize it to your needs. So something that's really helpful, especially for mobile users, is their address. So if we clicked here, if they moved, we could always update their address here. And then if you're on the go and you're about to visit them, it integrates with Google Maps to make it very easy to find where they live. Next thing, we've talked about phone numbers and emails, and obviously you have custom fields here that you can add in order to personalize this environment, and you can add notes about the family if you have a pastoral visit or a great conversation with them in church. So let's move and work with adding some information. Let's jump into Rosa here. And if you'll notice, it moves from the household to the individual again. And here, like I've said before, phone numbers, emails, all of this is maneuverable. So let's add a tag. So let's say them and their family, they are really enjoying Bible studies that your church offers. And let's say one of them is attending Luke's and Acts study. So let's add that in. So now we show that Rosa here is attending the study. So if we search this in the people view, you'd be able to find everyone that's attending the study quickly and efficiently. Another example of this, let's see here, James Henry. See here, let's say he's getting very passionate about Bible study as well, and he's become a Bible study leader. So now we've added another tag here. Whether they're part of a group or have a specific leadership function, you can tag them using the tag function. But you can also use it more than just operations. You can use it for interests. And we recommend using interests as a way to further connect with the people that are coming and going within your congregation. So let's say James here, he's really passionate about running, golf, and computers, like computer programming. And so here you'll see we're continuing to create depth for our understanding of James so that no matter who's looking at the software, if they have permissions to see this information, they'll be able to have everything they need in front of them in order to connect with James in the best possible way and connect him to opportunities that might serve his needs. So let's say you're using our software Unite and you need someone who's familiar with computers to help work on the church's website. So if you search that anyone that had the computer programming or understands computers tag, you could then create a list and reach out to those individuals to see if they could lend a hand. So as you move to the right side here, you'll see that we have a lot of information about James, his sex, ethnic group, birthday, baptism, confirmation. You can add more information to this. We call these custom fields. So if you go up to the gear icon and then go down to custom fields, you can add information that is really important for you to track. So let's say we have part of a mailing men's tennis club. James is a multi-talented individual here. And so we're going to save that. And then we're going to go back to him. And then we're going to put yes here. So now we're showing that he's part of the men's tennis club. And this is, again, just one really easy way to create depth of information within your profiles. So one of the things I did want to show you that could be very useful in case you're doing a specific kind of outreach is if we added occupation, and we're going to put that, as a text, and then we're going to change this to, let's see, everyone can see your occupation that has access to the software. But now we're going to add employer. And employer, I think that's a little bit more personal. So we're going to do administrators only for this one. So now, as you go back into the people view, if you have a different level of permissions, you'll be able to see different amounts of information. So here, let's edit men's tennis club. We think that, let's see, small group leaders should be able to see if he's in the men's tennis club in case they want to lead a study as part of that men's group. So we can change that there. Again, just one of the many tools that we have available to us within Church360 members. Let's see, what else did I want to go through here? Going back to him, you can see if you go up to this section here, you see his image changes color a little bit. If you click here, you can replace, recrop, or remove his photo in case they get an updated family photo and you want to update it there. You can do that for both profile views as well as household views. So let's go to the timeline here. And as I mentioned, you can add a note. And so you'll see here, there's a kind of a tracking system of where there's interactions. So Rod Kyles, this is our, he runs our support team, and I'm using his account here. So we're gonna leave a note that can only be seen by elders. Had a great conversation with the Henrys today. They are interested in joining the altar guild. And then we're going to go ahead and hit. And I click out. And now that note, you see August 1st, has been included here. Another way to use this is what kind of visit. Let's say they were shut in for the coronavirus. We can add a check-in here, and they're visited by, let's say Tim was an elder, and Tim came by and checked in on them, maybe dropped off a meal in order to support their family. And now we can keep track of this in the profile view, or the household view, I'm sorry. Here. So this is helpful for pastoral visits as well. So if Tim was one of your pastors, you can make that note and then also include personal information. So only pastors have access to that pastoral notes section. So if you have a note here that said Tim was our pastor, visited by Tim, I want to make a note that they went through a marriage counseling section. Now, that's a very private encounter, so we want to make sure that's not a general note that's available to potentially anyone, but it's specifically a pastoral note because we can filter those permissions in order to keep that information only accessible to the people who really need it. So we showed you how to add tags Now let's go back to the right side of our smart group selector and search for the tags that we've made and easily group members. So let's see here. Let's go and use the altar. We only have one altar guild. Let's see, Bible study leader. So we see we added James here, and now when we list this out, he's available here, along with everyone else who are leading Bible studies. Again, this is just kind of a really neat way in order to sort this information. And if we wanted to save this report, we'd click here. We'd say Bible study leaders, save. And now that report's been saved. So if we go over to our reports and then click Bible study leaders, this view is automatically available to us versus if we go straight to people's, that list is gone. Back to reports, Bible study leaders, and it's been filtered for us quickly and efficiently. Church360 just has an amazing amount of building blocks here that makes running your church as easy as possible. Ken and I encourage you to really dig around with this into the functionality and just see how you can use it best. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how to make it better. And obviously, if there's anything that you've seen that's like, hey, this is really impactful for me, and this has really helped us, we'd love to hear your testimonial. And let's dive back into reports here. So you can see there's a couple different ways that you can sort the information in your church. I showed you Bible study leaders, and let's go to annual report. Now, this is a really deep dive into things that are moving within our church. We have selected different reporting functions through this that shows us what's going on in the church. So we can see that we've had over $250,000 in offerings. Very interesting presets that we have here. If we want to add a trend for everyone, we can add that here. That should, oh, and that's what we have here. Oh, and then because Church360 Members is web-based, we want to give you all the information where it's most valuable to you. We don't want to have you to go to a dated report each time to find exactly what you need. These reports are responsive and change as you change data within them. So in the annual report, you can see a quick snapshot of the information you want to find, and you can also create reports you need and save them or save various report views. As you're saying with me, we're not data experts, and so making sure that people have the ability to do this easily and efficiently to understand what's going on in their church is really, really important to us here at CTS. The reporting function in Members is really robust, and we could spend an entire webinar series on this feature in the future. In fact, we have, if you check out our YouTube channel, we have in the Members series specific webinars covering everything within the reports view. One final thing, roles and permissions. As we've shared, you can customize a lot of different information in Church360 webinar Members. Some of the information you'll put in is very general, but some of it can be very sensitive and private, as I've mentioned before. It is up to you and your team on who needs or gets and sees what. So if we go up here and we go into the roles view, you can see based on what kind of role there is, what they have access to. At this busy time of year, you may want to add a few permissions so you can set your staff up, so your staff can support you in keeping your church data up to date and organized while ensuring they only get access to the right kinds of data. So let's do church secretary, purple here, and we'll add the role. And then if we click here, we can change everything that she has access to. So she can see people's information, she can edit it, she can see events and manage events. and she can review attendance, enter attendance, and manage funds, envelopes, church register. But we're not going to say manage pastoral visits. We're going to keep that not available to her, but everything else we're going to say she'll be able to manage. And she can send emails and texts. And we're going to save that. And you can see that this populates all her abilities within the software. This is just, well, one example. If you have elders, people who are just in charge of attendance entries, your financial secretary, general members, so you can use it as a church directory, membership secretary, ministry leader. So you can see that there's a lot of ways in order to personalize the software for whoever's using it. So with this, with Church360 members, you have, as you can see, we have a lot of different roles here. And part of the reason why we do that is that because you can have an unlimited amount of logins. So as many people as you possibly could want can use the software as you like. It makes Church360 incredibly affordable compared to other solutions on the market, and it helps you personalize, like I've said, different aspects of the software to those who need it. This creates a lot of flexibility for you. Let's go back to the gear wheel and go to logins. And you can see here, let's add a login for James Henry Jr. And we're going to put him in as a ministry leader. We're going to save. So now that should have pre-populated right here, pending invite, heading out to him. And if he had an email, it would go via email straight to him. He's made a person, so he doesn't have an email. So we recommend that you do the roles not based on the person's names, but based on their legitimate role in the church. As you saw in the roles section, we don't have a James Henry entry, but rather the spots in which James Henry would fill as either a member or a ministry leader, etc. Another great example of this is greeters. Let's see, do we have a greeter section here? No, we don't. So let's add a role. Greeters, add a role, and they can see people's information. And yeah, that should be all they need. Oh, and they can review and enter attendance. We're going to save that. And then we're going to go to logins. And then we're going to add, I know a Steph Powell was one of the welcoming committee. We're going to add her to greeter and save. So it's personalized. Oh, and I'm getting a notification that it's they must have at least one email address, so that won't be being sent out to them. You can see it's personalizable to the specific needs of your church. So to wrap up, as I said, there's a whole lot that you can do in Church360 members. And this overview webinar is just beginning to scratch the surface. With fall coming up fast, it's important to start the building blocks to keep up with your members and make the most of those moments that you have with new visitors coming into the church to make them feel welcomed and help them integrate well into your church body. Ken and I will be offering more of these sessions as we dig deeper into the software and be looking for the announcements when they come up, specifically when we announce CTS Academy members. We make this process even easier for you to dive deeper into everything that is Church360. Thank you all again for attending. Again, my name's Rob Davidson. So you can see I'm still getting the hang of this whole environment. So thank you for your patience and sticking with us today. I'll hand this back over to Ken. And if we can be any further help, please don't hesitate to contact any one of us at CTS. Ken, back to you.
All right, I'm going to make myself the presenter there. And
Great.
Rob, thank you so much on that. There's so much that I want to pop in and kind of comment on, but right now, you can start a free 30-day trial. And you saw that there's a lot that you can do with Church360. Oh, I got to share my screen. Show my screen. There it is. There is the free 30-day trial that you can use at 360members.com. And you can see that there's a lot that you can do with that. And if you still have questions, you had my contact information and Rob's contact information, but here are two folks that you really want to get to know, Dave or Steven. And they both handle certain territory. So if you're part of the other area, they'll introduce you to one or the other, or you can always just do the general software consultants email, softwaresales@cts.cph.org. And last but not least, we've got a couple questions and answers. And actually, Rob, we've got some great comments and some different things going on, but you had mentioned a bunch of different things that I love. One, first of all, I'm very excited about this CTS Academy that's coming up. And for anybody who's on this webinar right now or who's watching this at a different time, be watching for those, because those are going to be little bite-sized nuggets of information that you can use. The purpose of these webinars is to go a little bit overview and a little bit more top level, but those are going to be much more focused on some of the issues you might be having. The other one too, Deb, one of our participants, is a live stream operator at her church. And Deb, I'm with you. I do that as well at our church. So I love that. But what I'm bringing up on that is the idea of being able to do the calendars. And Rob, you showed how you can add calendars. Well, you can actually add servant events or ushers or readers or different people like that. So that's a great way to have all of that information in one place as well. I love the texting feature that you showed, the texting feature. I don't actually even use that enough when I think about using Church360, but let's face it, we are all being connected this way. So having a text to remind someone of something is great as well. The tags, you were able to talk about tags a little bit, and that's great. We've got a couple questions I'm going to address here in just a second. A couple of the tags, those are great ways to connect volunteers or connect anybody that is getting in there. And then last but not least, you showed the notes and being able to add personal notes in there. And personally, as an elder in my church, I love having that type of access. I love being able to, when I meet somebody, be able to go in with my role and just kind of add a note to it, or if the pastors talk to them or the church secretary or anybody, the director of church education, if they've talked to them, I love being able to see that in there as well. So those are all great things. Here's a question, Rob, we've got, is manual entry the only way to currently get people information into the system, or is there a form that a visitor or new member could fill out and have it populate the system automatically? Yeah, that's a great question. That's from our pastor, Pastor Swanson.
So right now, we don't have a way for people to enter themselves into the system, but we do have templates that make, when we upload the information into the system, very, very efficient. You can work with our support team on getting the specifics. I believe it's a Excel spreadsheet that will have headers in the right order that you can enter, and then that would be an easy way to connect that to a form so that people would fill out that form. You would then populate that list and then upload that Excel document once times or at a, at an interval, kind of like weekly, etc. So you can make that system a lot more hands-off.
Yeah, that is a great question. And again, that's another great opportunity for volunteers or anybody else to be able, with a role, to be able to be the ones who can manually then enter some of that information as well for you too. So having that template is very big there. Pastor, I hope we answered that question for you. Again, I don't see any other major questions in here, but I just want to say thank you to everybody that has joined us today. We know that it is a very time consuming to be able to do something like this. And we just thank you so much for being a part of this today and checking out Church360 Members. And somehow I'm back into the front one there. But thank you so much for being a part of this, and be looking for future presentations coming up. If there's anything we can do to help answer your questions, please let us know. In the meantime, have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.